In 12 weeks, the world's richest man lost $50 billion.
Not a scandal, not a lawsuit, something far harder to fight.
It's the silent verdict of consumers abandoning an empire of symbols overnight.
When a glittering logo can no longer buy anyone's respect.
Welcome to Business Case Files. Tonight, the day the symbol died, 2026, first quarter. The opening bell in Paris. No alarm sounded, but the collapse had already begun.
This is LVMH's worst opening quarter in its history.
Steeper than the day the dot-com bubble burst in 2001, fiercer than the 2008 financial crisis, even deeper and faster than the 2020 global lockdown crash. This isn't a correction, this is free fall.
In one single quarter, the stock collapsed nearly 28%.
Golden on paper, hollowed out underneath. Wealth drained at a rate of millions of dollars per minute. One man's fortune is vanishing at a historic rate. 12 weeks, $55 billion. His fastest collapse in 40 years.
It's not his first fall, but it's his fastest one yet.
The throne still gleams. No one dares to sit on it anymore. What cracked in the marble floor wasn't stone. It was trust. Boxes once impossible to buy now tumble unwanted into the dark. Across the entire luxury sector, every curve is bending downward together.
How does an empire built over decades collapse in a single quarter?
The pyramid at the top is breaking apart, piece by piece. But the real question isn't how far it fell. It's why no one believes it's worth that much anymore. The answer is buried in a number the industry preferred to blur. Two curves, one called volume, one called price, stopped moving together long ago.
McKinsey's data shows 80% of the industry's growth was simply price hikes.
The same bag's price more than doubled in 4 years. Pandemic savings and stimulus checks once made this price game frictionless. But when the stimulus faded, aspirational buyers were the first pushed out the door. One flagship door after another began to fall unusually silent.
Once aspirational buyers leave, the pyramid's foundation starts to loosen.
So a quiet rebellion began gathering across social feeds. Every logo began facing scrutiny it never expected. Ironically, the louder the symbol, the poorer it began to look. Quiet luxury quietly became the new code of status.
This is the Veblen collapse. Visibility no longer equals value.
Once flaunting proved status, now it confesses insolvency. Two lines finally cross right through the center of the chart. Voices that once commanded attention now meet unsettling silence. Deep in the warehouses, unsold luxury gathers a thin layer of dust.
The market didn't stop buying quality. It just stopped believing the story.
Once the story fails, an invisible war decides who survives. On that map, invisible nooses had already begun to tighten. 4 nooses, each wrapped around one pillar of the empire. The first noose tightens around the Middle East, once its only reliable market.
The market that once covered China's shortfall now can't cover itself.
The weak conflict erupted. Orders stopped almost overnight. The second noose is invisible but lethal. Currency headwinds. In a single quarter, currency alone erased 7 full points of revenue. The third noose wraps the engine that never stopped growing, China.
This wasn't overnight collapse. It's years of chronic demand erosion.
An entire generation quietly redefined what worth it even means. The fourth noose came from a tariff order signed an ocean away. Watches, leather goods, entire product lines were pulled onto the battlefield. All 4 nooses finally tightened together in the very same quarter.
Middle East silence, currency backlash, China fatigue, tariffs surrounded on all sides.
Not an attack from one enemy, a systemic collapse on every front at once. Analysts once called it a safe haven. That haven is now taking on water. Inside the empire, not every brand absorbs the pressure equally. Some clienteles are wealthy enough that even war can't touch their shopping list.
Who survives this siege isn't decided by the stock price. It's decided by client wealth.
So two towers that once stood side by side began leaning in different directions. One crumbling, one standing firm. A duel between new money and old money begins. Between these two towers, a war once raged without a single shot fired. In April 2025, the tower once underestimated quietly overtook the other.
Hermès overtook LVMH to become the world's most valuable luxury company.
The seed of this reversal was quietly planted a decade earlier. Paris, 2015, a stealth raid targeting the maker of the Birkin. The family's fifth-generation head convened the entire board overnight. Old money won that round. But the war had only just begun. A decade later, that win became today's foundation for overtaking. From this point, two business models split completely apart.
One locks in the top tier through scarcity. The other spans every tier through scale.
Scarcity is a cruel shield. It keeps the poor out and the storm out too. But spanning every tier means when the middle class retreats, the wound has nowhere to hide. A 3% sales drop sounds small, but it was enough to change the throne. For the scarcity model, even conflict became proof of harder to get.
But make no mistake, this seesaw is far from over.
By mid-2026, the once overtaken tower had quietly widened the gap again. Market cap rank was never the finish line, just a daily dispatch from an ongoing war. The real question isn't who's ahead today, it's whose foundation survives the next storm.
This isn't a story of winners and losers. It's two different bets on human nature.
And as both bets start to waver, real capital has already begun moving elsewhere. That new path leads to a world where logo worship has already exited. Industry watchers broadly believe the next wave of scarcity will grow even more extreme.
Tomorrow's luxury may not sell through ads, but through doors even harder to open.
Some analysts argue true top-tier service is quietly stripping away branding altogether. No storefront, no queue, just a phone call, and a list no one can see.
And truly smart capital has already begun searching beyond the stock chart.
Here's the simple logic behind it. When public markets start shaking, money quietly slides into unseen corners. It's not a new trick. It's just moving far faster this time. The empire hasn't truly vanished. It's just learned to exist more quietly. And next time, what decides who stays at the top may no longer be price.
So here's the real question. When money can't buy respect, what can it still buy?
Maybe the answer isn't in the next earnings report, but in how we define worth it. This story of collapse and rebirth still has no ending. Business Case Files. Next time, we take apart another myth in collapse.